What up? What up? Back at it. Thanks for coming through. All right. I think I say this every single time. This one is dope, but then I think about it and I'm like, I buy what I like, so I automatically think it's dope.
It's okay, it's alright. Won't be waiting for long.
Today, we are talking about the Adi Zero Adios Pro from Adidas. Now, I know it's confusing. They've already had an Adios Pro, and then this one is technically, this is the Zero Adios Pro. I don't know why they made a confusing name like that, but it is what it is. It's beautiful. Like, flat out beautiful. My pair is dirty. I put them straight to work, put them on foot, and got them outside and got them rolling. Yeah. Good. All right, so let's get into it. Talk about the three different parts. We're going to talk upper. We're going to talk midsole. We're going to talk outsole. We're going to talk styling. And we're going to talk functionality. First off, upper. The upper here is cellar mesh, which when I look at it, it reminded me of something that was on a Kobe. When Kobe first went over to Nike from Adidas, they had this same cross hatching pattern. It was on the external part of the shoe and it was kind of rubberized. It was a great fit, great lockdown, great mobility and flexibility in the shoe. But you can see it right there. It's see-through. It's completely see-through. The actual mesh is super thin, translucent. The structure is on the inside of the shoe. It's got kind of a sock liner felt feel to it, so it's comfortable on barefoot. It's comfortable with socks and whatnot, but it's dope. Really airy, so fall and winter are coming up. This is gonna be a chilly shoe if you're wearing it in the snow, winter time, and all that. But for performance, that goes a long way because that's going to make for a very ventilated, very comfortable shoe. Your feet are not going to sweat because they just won't be contained in the same way. Standard laces, they've got the thin cloth laces, which are so much better than a lot of the stretchier laces that you find in some of the shoes now. What I like about that is when you pull them taut, they stay. So that cotton lace is very good. I should also mention the different lacing holes, so for options on how to get that best lockdown fit. It's actually pretty impressive. They bring the lacing all the way down here and across for two different levels of lacing. It's pretty impressive. I like that. Let's talk about the tongue a little bit. The tongue is locked down, okay? So the tongue is actually sewn right here to the actual upper. You can see me pulling on the tongue and it's pulling the upper. It's sewn down and then it's attached on the other side underneath there. See if I can get a good view of it. It's hard to get a good view of it because it's way down underneath there, but it's attached. So it's not going to move. That's the good thing. It's definitely not going to shift on you. However, getting your foot into it, and I've got a really narrow foot, trust, it's tough getting your foot in, and then it bunches up right about there. When you're trying to get anything in there, you can see it. I'm just pushing on the paper, and it's already bunching up. So that's going to be a problem for some people. I already know. That's going to be tough to get your foot in there and get a good lockdown. Once it's in there, though, it's snug. But if that bugs you and bothers you, that's going to bother you. Gusseted tongue, it doesn't come up very high, but it's comfortable. It's definitely comfortable once you're in it, you're locked in. I've been hearing from some people that the lockdown was hard to get. I didn't have that problem, and I have narrow feet. So I felt snug once I got in it. It's like there is no heel counter traditionally. It's flexible back there. It's all that cellar mesh still. There is one little piece, and I'm not sure if that's hard. So it's almost like one little piece of plastic, or I don't think it's metal, but it's in there, and it's structured directly against the back of your heel, leading up to the Achilles. So I could see that providing plenty of structure, because mostly you're not way back on your heels in this shoe. The point, as you can see with that drastic kicker, with that toe spring, is to get you up on those toes and popping off. Midsole next. This shoe features Light Strike Pro, very lightweight foam, super cushiony. It's got some bounce back. It might not feel the same as Boost, but it's very, very similar in the fact that it's got some squish. It's got a little more squish than Boost. Boost has a density to it that really does, is great for impact protection. It's great for comfort. It's why the Ultra Boost has been a major lifestyle shoe over the last, 5 years. Because of the squish factor and that density, you can put various body types and weights on top of it, and it handles it just fine. Light Strike Pro has some squish to it, and it's got a little more bounce back in terms of lightweight pop. Ultra Boost is a little bit heavier, probably does impact protection better. This one, Light Strike Pro, I was really surprised of what it gave back. I wonder if they'll ever bead up the Light Strike like they did the Ultra Boost, the TPU. I don't know, but I like it. It's good. It's comfortable. It's stiff though. When you first start out, this shoe is stiff. When you first put your foot in it, man, it needs some break-in time. It's tough on the foot when you first put it in. Now, distance runners are probably used to that with the shoes that have come out over the last few years. This shoe is very reminiscent of the Brooks Hyperion Elite 2. This is the closest feel that it gave me, that DNA foam that's in the Brooks. It feels very, very similar. The shoe is kind of set up a similar way. I think it's 39 here in the back. I think once you get to that kicker, it's 29, if I'm not mistaken. But it's drastic here at the front. It's actually pretty level majority of the way, and then that drop off at the toe spring is pretty drastic. That has a lot of people saying they feel like they're on their heels. I didn't feel that, but I'm also a midfoot striker. When I walk and I run, I'm a midfoot striker, so I didn't really have a problem with feeling that. What I did have a feeling of is that when you're on the ball of your feet, it does have a little kick. So if you're not really motivating forward, I could see how you get stuck right there a little bit. It doesn't have the same rocker feel that you get from any of the Nike products that you're used to. That rolling feeling is very similar again to the Brooks Hyperion Elite. Now, let's get into why that is. They have a system called Energyrods. There is not a carbon fiber plate running the full length of this shoe. You do have carbon fiber directly under the heel, inside closer to the foot. It's not down here in the foam. It actually sits up top. Then trapped between the foam, you can see the point at which the shoe is put together. Trapped inside the foam are called Energyrods. And what they do is they actually kind of match and mimic the metatarsals of your foot.
I did science in school, y'all.
It allows, supposedly, allows your foot to move a little more naturally than the plate that would be inside there normally. And I can say, if that's true, I will like this a lot better, because the plates make the ball of my foot sore. I'm interested to see how these Energyrods make the ball of my foot feel. And if they're hurting, they are not helping. It's not really a structural shoe, but you can see that it's got a little bit of a cutout there. So as you're striking, it's accounting for heel strike and then a slight pronation toward the big toe. So, you're going to feel that a little bit, a little squish, and it's narrow, very, very narrow in the heel, wider in the forefoot. So yeah, you're talking mid to 4 foot strike pattern. You're not talking really heavy crash on the heel. Okay, outsole. Since I showed that to you, let's talk outsole. Um, this is a really strange outsole for those who are used to seeing tread pattern. This one here is actually just a very thin piece of rubber. You can see right there how thin it is. Okay, super thin, super minimal, covering the 4 foot. It's got some texture to it, but and it's a little bit tacky, but you kind of have to get some walking in on it, get some scraping against the concrete, against the surfaces that you're going to be running on or walking on, because it needs to get down to the sticky part of that rubber. Initially, it felt like it was going to be pretty slick. I didn't know how well that was going to work out, but it ended up working out just fine so far. Same thing is mimicked on the heel, just in a different color, and so that works out well. It's good. These are racing slicks for real. They're just meant to go, and so you're gonna have a longer break-in period if you're not putting mileage in on them. And the reason I bring this up is because I review fashion, I review some performance, not really in depth. Although I could, it's just not what I want to do. There's plenty of channels out there to do it. Shout out to Ed Bud once again. Fashion-wise, style-wise, everyday use-wise, sure you could do it, but this shoe is going to fight you a little bit. Just be prepared for that, because this shoe is meant to go. It's literally meant to go and perform. Style wise, it's going to be a bit of a struggle for some. Performance wise, though, it's incredible. I, again, am a sprinter jumper with master's track and field, and so they market it toward distance runners a lot, but they're talking about race pace, they're talking about high end tempo, and if you're a sprinter jumper like I am, what you end up doing, the speed that we end up doing our tempo workouts in, is equal or greater to the speed that distance runners typically move when they're running marathons, half marathons, 5K, 10K, and such. That's not saying anything against them. They're incredibly talented. They're doing something that we could not do. However, moving at that pace matches this. This shoe, on initially putting your foot in it, feels like a track spike. So you can put some work in. I know a lot of people who actually have purchased the Alpha or the Vaporfly from Nike. Some have gotten into the Tempo lately, and they've been marketing that toward their sprinters and jumpers and high performance athletes, because at the pace you're moving, you can use these kind of shoes. I'll be putting some work in it and some style. It's dope. Glad I got it in the collection. Took a bit. I'd like to get the white pair, but that was the early release. I don't know who got that one, because that was crazy. But this one is dope. I think this is the Dream Mile color is what they're calling this one. So the Adidas Adizero Adios Pro. I'll show this one to you on foot. It looks good with a pair of jeans. That's how I'm going to show it to you right now. Peace.